council meeting will be starting shortly, but we do have a public hearing. So as a matter of process, I have to read a chairperson statement. For those of you that have heard it before, it's probably a little on the boring side, but it's a necessary part of the process. So the statement is as follows. This public hearing is being convened pursuant to the Community Charter and the Local Government Act. In accordance with the Charter, the time and place of the public hearing was advertised in 2 editions of the Hope Standard newspaper. In accordance with the District of Hope Application Procedure and Public Hearing Information Meeting Procedural Bylaw, number 1393, and the Local Government Act, the required specifications have been complied with. At this public hearing, any persons who believe that their interest in the subject property is affected by the proposed agenda item may speak or present written submissions to council on this matter. As chairperson, I will read any written briefs from persons unable to attend this public hearing so that they may become part of the record. Those who wish to speak should, when invited to speak, clearly state their name and address for the record. It is important that all who speak at this meeting restrict their remarks to the matters contained in the bylaws. No one will be or should feel discouraged or prevented from making his or her views known. Members of council may ask questions for those making presentations, The main function of council at the public hearing is to listen to the comments of the public, not to debate the merits of the bylaws. Members of council may debate any issue on the bylaws at the time of third or final reading. The order of proceedings will be as follows. Number 1, Director of Community Development will briefly describe the matters under consideration and provide a brief explanation of the proposed bylaw. The applicant or agent for the applicant may be invited to comment. All written submissions will form part of the record of the public hearing. All submissions from the public will be heard, and any further written submissions, if any, will be received, and then the public hearing will be closed. No further submissions, either verbal or written, regarding the proposed bylaw can be made to the council following the public hearing. After this public hearing has concluded, the council may, without further notice, give whatever effect it believes proper to the representations made at this public hearing. So I would now like to call upon our Director of Community Development, Mr. Jas Gill, to open it up.
Sure. Your Worship, through you, 555 Rab Street currently is zoned institutional P2. They would like to do some facility upgrades, including erecting a L shed material storage structure. Under the current zoning, there is no outside storage allowed. So they would have to switch over to compliant use, which is the I2 industrial zone use or zone. Last council meeting, we did go through the development permit for form and character. However, the approval of that is contingent upon this rezoning.
Okay, and the applicant is not here, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess I should ask for comments pertaining to bylaw number 1368, 2016, pertaining to the address at 555 Rab Street. Suggestion to go from institutional P2 to light service industrial I2. Questions or comments?
That's the BC Hydro property?
Okay. Second call. Doesn't seem particularly controversial. And third and final call. Okay. I guess with no comments, it could be an all power to you to BC Hydro. That was cheesy, but unavoidable. Okay. I guess we can conclude this public hearing. Very few public hearings. No feedback. Anyways, I'd like to call this council meeting to order and motion to approve the agenda, please.
So moved.
Second. Councillor Crop moving, Councillor Smith seconding. All those in favor? Contrary? Carries. Item 3, adoption of the minutes of the council meeting February 9th. Do we have a motion to that effect? Councillor Erickson moving.
Second.
Councilor Medlock seconding. Questions or comments pertaining to the minutes? Another high-quality Wendy Dahlman minute job, it appears. Okay. All those in favor? Contrary, motion carries. Okay, we're fortunate to have with us tonight two of the key movers and shakers from the Fraser Valley Regional District, Mr. Paul Gibbs, our Regional District CAO, and Mike Veenbass, Director of Finance, aka Minister of Finance. And they are here to talk to us about a amendment to a funding formula pertaining to search and rescue. Now, I know there's a couple of good folks here from search and rescue. This is not to take away from search and rescue funding. This is a cleanup of a funding formula. I had the opportunity to speak with Mr. Gibbs in his office a week and a half ago. He outlined to me what the suggestion is, and it was very clear when he explained it. He's going to give us the same presentation tonight. And Mr. Gibbs, the floor is yours.
Sure, where would you like me?
Anywhere you'd like, maybe that table over there.
Right here. Thank you very much, members of the council. I really appreciate the opportunity to come before you today and sort of explain what we're doing with the regional district. As you said, this is really about search and rescue. It's about right-sizing the bylaw that matches the funding formula that we've got in here. I wonder if I can advance the slide a little bit. There we go. With the magic finger, I just point, or... There we go.
There we go.
Excellent. So today we're asking the District Hope to consider consent vote for amending the Fraser Valley Regional District bylaw. We're looking to adjust the bylaw to more closely reflect the provincial boundaries. So as you can see, we can go forward on that one. It's fine. As you can see on this map, the province of British Columbia actually sets the search and rescue boundaries. They identify the areas. As you can see, there's the Chilliwack boundaries. You've got Harrison, Kent, search and rescue. We've got Mission search and rescue, and we've got Hope search and rescue. And in Hope, it's made up of three areas: Hope, electoral area A, and electoral area B. And the way it's set up right now, the funding formula isn't consistent with the services that are provided there. This goes back to, we were working with the city of Chilliwack, and their search and rescue group came to Chilliwack to look for some additional funding going forward. And of course, Chilliwack asked, what's that all about? We went back and checked, and Chilliwack and their areas, Columbia Valley, electoral area H, electoral area E, electoral area D, those three communities, put about $50,000 a year into the coffers, but we were only giving 29 of that to the search and rescue. So when they came back to look, they want some more funding, do some more things there. Chilliwack questioned, well, where's the rest of it going? When we looked at that, we found that the bylaw that was done hadn't been revisited, and they were going to revisit it on an annual basis and just adjust the funding accordingly. So what happened over the course of a number of years, Chilliwack's funding has been spread out throughout the region. And this bylaw here is we don't want to adjust the funding for the search and rescues. We want to keep it there. They do great work. We're not expecting them to make any change. But what we need to do is administratively right-size the funding so that Hope, electoral area B and electoral area B contribute to the funding that we're giving to them. If we go forward one more slide here. I think right now the operating grant that goes to search and rescue is $8,200. We've been collecting about $5,400 a year from the three partners in this area. And so we just want to right-size that a bit because we have to correct it all the way down the line over there. If we can go forward one more slide. What we're looking to do is do a realignment over a 2-year period, phase in over 2 years. Chilliwack and that search and rescue group there, the electoral areas there, have agreed that they don't expect it all to be done in 1 year. We'll phase it in over 2 years. The increase that we're looking at, so based on your residential property assessment, anything between $100,000 would go up by 8 cents, worth $200,000, and so on. You can see that It's not a significant increase, but it does right-size it. Can go forward one more slide. So right now, the average residential property pays 69 cents in Hope, 24 in Area A, 43 in Area B. And what we're looking at is trying to move that along so that we collect funding from each of the areas. It's based on an assessment model, so if you have more assessment in your area, you'll contribute a little bit more. But you can see there, it's not a significant amount of increase. It's unlikely that it will affect most, and it will secure the funding for this region. And it sort of allows it a more direct result for the areas that are participating in this region. They'd have more say in it. If you need to increase it, what you're going to give search and rescue, you come to a board of 23, which may or may not understand the intricacies of your area, which is a much harder position. This way, with the 3 participants in that area, it makes it a lot easier to be more flexible to the needs of search and rescue.
So dollar for dollar, Mr. Gibbs, the money collected within the region will be going directly into the search and rescue.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The regional district does not take any administration fees on this. We just administrate it and ship it out.
Okay. Councilor Medlock, Councilor Crockett?
Thank you, through you. I'm curious about the grant amounts. So Chilliwack's at 29,000, Kedmonton's at 19,300, Hope's 8,200, Mission's 2,700. How are those amounts determined? Is that request from those search and rescue groups? Or
Yes.
is it determined another way?
Yes, that's how it's done. The regional district doesn't actually, didn't get involved in setting it up. Originally, that was the way it was set up, the way it came forward, and that was the funding that historically came our way. Then we've kept it the same.
So if Hope Search and Rescue, similar to your example with Chilliwack, we're looking for an increase in funding to do some different things, that would affect only the, and it was all approved, I don't know even how that works, but if it was, that would affect Hope Area A and Area B.
That's correct. That's what we're proposing to go forward. Because right now, as it is, it would go into a rebalancing in the regional district where we have 23 board members and 6 cities, 8 electoral areas. So it's not really reflective of the needs that you would have in your community versus the needs that we have in others. So we feel that this is a better model because the participants that are benefiting from it, participants that are directly involved, have a better say.
Okay, Councilor Crockett, Councilor Erickson.
Thank you. Thanks for coming tonight. That's really great, and I'm encouraged to see there's a little increase there. And of course, being our location, that's clearly something important that we would need. I'm just curious, with the funding, because it's really never come before me before that I can recall, with the regional district, do they give any increases to the overall budget at all? Like there's about a $2,800 or something difference, right?
Yes.
So is there, like for example, if search and rescue was going to do, let's say, I'm throwing it out there, it's not happening, we're not even talking about it, but let's say, hypothetically, if we were ever going to do a capital expense, what's your feeling on that? Do you think that it would be appropriate for us to come forward and request some additional assistance in that area?
So the way it would work previously is the board would then look at it and say, okay, where's the funding model? If somebody come and asked, this would have been sorted out years ago.
Right.
Really, because as soon as they say Chilliwack would have said, wait a second here, hang on, this isn't quite balanced. So it hasn't really been changed since day one. It's been really looked at. So the way it would work now, I would expect that if there's a request by Search and Rescue to review their funding levels, to increase it, or do a capital project, we would set apart, we'd ask Hope, electoral area A and electoral B, let's come to the table, let's invite them in for a presentation, let's talk to them, see what they want, how can we do that, what does it look like, what's the cost implications per house, those kinds of things, or how can we apply for funding as a group.
I see, and of course, if we did something like that, the leverage would be beneficial for grant applications and so forth. So, for example, if there was some kind of capital expense grant money out there and we said, well, you know, the regional district's on board with us, and the other 2 areas, and of course us, and then, of course, if you did give us a little extra somewhere down the road, we could leverage that as well.
Yeah, so regional districts, nice thing about grant opportunities, regional districts get rated a little bit higher because it's regional. Federal and provincial governments look at things, say, okay, if we give it to this municipality or
Right.
this area, are we precedents? But if we can collect you together and say, look, we really want to do this and it affects this region,
Right,
we weight a little higher, and that just makes sense, right? If your kids, you got 3 kids, and they come to you and say, hey, want to buy us a car, we'll share it. You know, it's a lot better than say, buy me a car, buy me a car, buy me a car. So I think,
exactly.
I mean, that's how we look at it, and
Okay.
I think that's how the province would as well.
Thank you, that's wonderful, thank
And,
you.
and to clarify Councillor Crop's point, Mr. Gibbs, the increase in the per household funding is just to more fairly balance the funding formula. It's not an increase to the amount of money that search and rescue gets.
Yeah, no, what
So
we're
this
trying to
is
do
the status quo funding level. The search and rescue will receive exactly what they received before, but there would be a change to the per household amount to reflect the new funding
That's
regime.
taxation.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
It's just a reallocation of where the funding should come from, so it's respective of that area. There'll be no change in their requisition funds.
Right.
Yeah,
Stay the same.
okay, thank you. Councillor Erickson?
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks, Paul, for coming. This question I have with the funding, how did you come up with the assessment? Is it by population? Because I was looking, Hope is 69, Area A is 24, was, and Area B is 43. You just pull the numbers out of the sky, or how does that, how did you-
Sure, and you know what, and I'm gonna turn it over to the Minister of Finance here, that's why I brought him. Our Director of Finance.
So like population, or?
I'll let Mike answer, because he can give the, I could tell you, but he's.
So
He came here for some reason.
Yes.
regional district services by default are allocated by assessment. You know, the board has ability to allocate on different models, but that is the default. So this service has traditionally been set up on an assessment model. So we took the current structure where we have the 4 groups receive funding, funded from the whole board with the exception of Abbotsford who are on the outside. That model is by assessment, and we take that, we can tell how much Hope pays towards the current model, Area A, Area B, and that gives you the percentage you have there. So we've taken that, we've increased to put more funding in electoral areas. The electoral areas by default have generally lower assessments because they have less development for the most part. So the board did a reallocation to put a little more of a tax requisition, if you will, from electoral areas. That's why you're seeing their percentage share of the service increasing greater, but it's still loosely based on the assessment model going forward. Once we get to this point where we have Area A, B, and Hope on their own, in future years, 3 members could get together and look at how it is allocated amongst the 3 members, and some reallocation could happen at that point.
I just have one other question. So the increase in the funding, is that going to take it from 5,400 to 8,200? Is that what you're trying to do? Is that where you're getting the increase so that the regional district doesn't have to come up with 3,000?
Yeah, so right now, the regional district doesn't actually come with the money. The city of Chilliwack is, to be honest, is paying that shortfall right now.
Yeah, so,
Thank you.
just a clarification, the regional district is really equals. You know, if we tax, they're your citizens, we just run it for them. So here, we're just gonna reallocate it, because the regional district doesn't have any money per se, we just take it from the city.
Oh,
Additional
no, I get
comments
it.
from council? Questions, comments? Good. Thank you very
Thank you very much, and council, have a great evening.
Michelle, you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting.
I got a question.
Was the head out here? Actually, if Director Adamson wants to say something, sure. Maybe stick around for just a second, Mr. Gibbs.
Yeah. From here? So I can be on TV? I'd like to ask, through the chair to staff, the question I wonder is, the original $50,000 formula that had Chilliwack paying that percentage that it paid, how did that come from? What was the formula for the original? Like, to get where we're paying what we're paying now? When they put together this formula, what was it? Was it population, assessed value, whatever made Chilliwack pay for it up to now? Because what they're doing is saying, we want to not pay that, and we want you to pay it. So what made them pay at the start? That's what I'd like to know, that question.
So prior to 2005, there was 4 service areas for search and rescue that we had. The regional district was using that to get some funding from electoral areas. In 2005, they were all merged together. All the 4 SAR groups came together under one service, and all the member municipalities, electoral areas, with the exception of Abbotsford, became part of that funding mechanism. At that time, the partners, when they came in, agreed to fund it based on assessment. And that's all it was. Just whoever had the highest assessment paid this share and the proportional share going forward. And that's been the model that's been in place since 2005. Now with the changeover of elected officials from those member municipalities, new electoral area directors, and just even in the original bylaw 2005, it said it should be assessed every year. And quite frankly, it hasn't been reviewed every year. And now those member municipalities and electoral area directors get together, look at the bylaw, and realize that the priorities have changed, and then the funding inequalities in that bylaw are unequal, and they're looking to address that, and that's why the new model is in place.
Well, Area B voted no on this. We don't think it should change. So.
Sorry, one more comment. So also this will be going up for the next 2 years, is that right?
Yeah, so the way it'll work is starting this year, it'll go up half, and then next year, again, it'll be up half. Chilliwack has agreed to continue to fund all the search and rescues outside their area for the next 2 years.
Thank you.
Mr. Verlosky?
Your worship, the region is requesting that council resolve, as a result of this briefing and the information provided, that the Fraser Valley Regional District Sub-Regional Search and Rescue Service Area Amendment Bylaw number 1363, 2016 be adopted. So I'm wondering if someone on council wishes to move a resolution at this time as per the written brief document presented.
Mover and seconder for that?
I'll move that.
Okay, Councilor Crowd, Councilor Miller. Additional questions, comments?
Just a comment against the reason I'm in favor is just, I think it's only fair that our service is provided by taxation collected from our service areas. That's why I'm in favor.
Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you. I also believe that, you know, I appreciate the 2-year transition, and I think that it's really, it is important that as the regional district is administering those funds, that we don't have an expectation that our neighbor's going to continue to, you know, pay out that funding. So I think it's appropriate, and I might not like paying extra, but I hope that's a friendly discussion as you go forward.
Well, and I think it's important to clarify too, paying extra is a few cents per household. It's not there's no money, 15 cents per average household, so it's not a huge amount. So.
For a very worthwhile.
Yeah, for a very worthwhile group, so.
That's right.
Okay, all those in favor? Thank you.
Thank you much. Have a great evening, everybody.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to item 5, staff reports. As I brought up during the inaugural address, I think there's an appetite by a few members of the public to have informal visits with council before council meetings. We could do it on a monthly basis, maybe once a month. We could even do it once every 2 months if we don't have the anticipated turnout. But that would be a good opportunity for members of the public who would like to have an informal dialogue with council to come out, ask questions. 2 cautionary notes. Answers may not be provided on the spot, because obviously there's literally thousands of questions that can be posed, and it's probably unrealistic to assume that council or individual staff members will have every detail at their fingertips, but I think it's obviously a good opportunity to get detailed questions, and then we can certainly get answers back to members of the concerned public. And as well, since it's an informal meeting of council, it is not the kind of meeting where decisions will take place. It is purely have a tea or coffee of your choosing, and ask questions of council and staff. So we can try it out as a pilot. We had the graphic content in the package, a nice coffee cup there. And the coffee with council one, I think that might have been Ms. Baldwin's doing. Yeah, it's good, looks professional, I like it.
All right.
Yeah, good as usual. And so the schedule, as suggested, is March 14th, April 11th, May 9th, June 13th, July 25th, August 12th, and so on. So first meeting, second meeting,
First meeting, except for.
first meeting except for, July because of the summer break, so. Yeah. So I think we should try it out as a trial. If it turns out to be a waste of time, as far as we show up and no one shows up, then we can always do it once every 2 months.
Mhm.
But I think it would be maybe a good thing to endorse.
Do you need a motion?
I think that'd be good.
I'll make that.
Councillor Erickson,
I'll
do it.
second that, I'd
Councillor
like
Crouch,
to
second.
make a comment.
And Councillor Smith was patiently waiting there for good.
This will be put in the local paper, stuff like that as well, too.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
So just to be clear, it's not a council meeting, it's just a meet and greet, how's it going, kind of deal.
Yeah.
And if there's any issues that are imminent that need to come forward, they can come forward, for example, in a councilor's report or the mayor's report, or it could be forwarded to a agenda package, but it's really geared towards just being a low-key kind of town hall kind of meeting. Okay.
And obviously I would encourage council's participation, but if a couple of council members have work commitments that don't allow them to come out for 6, that's so be it. Come in when you can.
That's right.
So it's obviously not part of the regular council agenda, so no one's gonna hold it against you if you can't make it at 6. So, I would anticipate most meetings will probably have a couple, 3 members of council. That would be, I think, a realistic expectation. Maybe sometimes we'll have a full house, that would be great, but, so no one's taking notes, I would assume, as to who shows up and who doesn't. But it's just a good avenue to communicate with the public. So we have a motion on the table. All those in favor? Contrary? Motion carries. Thank you so much. Thank you to staff for work on that as well. Under mayor and council reports, I'll keep it relatively short, but I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Chamber of Commerce for the invitation to the dinner that took place last week. It was very well organized. Certainly, even if folks weren't excited about the speakers, they were probably excited about the nice meal that was provided. But it was nice to share the stage with former Mayor John Less and former Solicitor General Less, and then Dale Wielden from the British Columbia Economic Development Association. I know a number of you were there, so I just spoke briefly about council and why I feel council is a good team to work with. So I spoke behind your back, but nothing bad, it was all good. At the meeting I talked about individual gifts that council members bring to the table. I spoke about council's fiscal concern, because obviously business people in the community are always very concerned about tax rates and municipal service fees. So I said we're going to do the very best we can to continue on very fiscally responsible. Cited the 2% overall budget increase last year, but obviously we have to see what we can do this year. We have to, everything will be judged on its own merits this year as well. And this is, I don't think it's a particularly controversial topic. The federal government infrastructure program, which Prime Minister Trudeau is rolling out. Obviously, he made some very bold and ambitious promises during the election, and I think it is realistic to assume that for him to satisfy his election promises, he's going to have a pretty robust infrastructure program this year. I would say, given the magnitude of the cost of that program and given fiscal uncertainty for the future, it is realistic to assume that the infrastructure program next year is probably not going to be as active. That's just I think a common sense assumption. I could be wrong. I have been wrong before, but I think that's a realistic assumption. So I told the group of men and women there that council will be working diligently with staff to make sure that we'll be ready to go for the announcement of the infrastructure program, and that we'll be trying to get as much mileage out of that as possible, because we do have our fair share of infrastructure programs that need to be addressed. And so I think that was reasonably well received. The other thing at the end, and I hope this was a very positive note, but I've noticed in the last 14 months of council, we've had a lot of amazing things happen in the community. There's a lot of good news attached to what's happened in the 14 months, but I do think that every group in the community, ourselves included, we really have to seek out ways of cooperating better with one another, because there's a limited number of folks that step up to the plate to volunteer and make Hope a better place. And if there's a dynamic between groups that is unhealthy or disrespectful, or if there's animosity that is, out there, it's not particularly useful to move the community forward. I feel that that we have almost unlimited potential in this community, and I had, unfortunately, I guess my presentation was a little longer than I thought, which is shocking, but but there was a story that I wanted to tell there that I didn't have enough time to tell, but I'm going to tell the story here. And I think it's going to burn about 2-3 minutes, but I think it's a pertinent story, and the story was from a gentleman that many of you have probably heard about. He was Brian Tracy. He was sort of a Dale Carnegie kind of consultant, very active in the mid-90s, based in Alberta. A story that I heard on the radio actually a short time ago that he told was a true story about a school district in the United States, and the story went, and this is the abbreviated version because the real story was over 5-10 minutes. So the story was a superintendent of a large school district in the United States brought 3 teachers into his classroom, into his office, and said to the 3 teachers, "Congratulations, you've been identified as the 3 best teachers within this large school district, so congratulations to all of you on this significant accomplishment." So he said, what we're going to do as a pilot project, and you have to keep it on the hush-hush, keep it quiet, is that we're going to take 90 of the most gifted students and put them with the 3 best teachers in the district. So divvy them up, 30 students per class, and see what kind of results you're going to come up with, and we're anticipating good results. So, of course, fast forward a year ahead, and the results were extraordinary. The superintendent brought the 3 instructors into his office and said, "Congratulations, your results have been beyond amazing, better than I ever anticipated." But he says, "We have a couple surprises for you as the teachers. We have the first surprise was that the students were average students drawn out of a hat. And the second surprise was that the 3 instructors who were identified as the 3 most gifted instructors were also drawn by lot." So the powerful message that I received out of that is pertinent to our community, is that if we expect a lot of ourselves, and if we expect a lot of those around us, then I really think we can go far. And it was a true story, and I thought it was just very pertinent to our municipality, because if we all believe in our abilities and believe in those around us, I think we can get a lot of mileage out of the time that we put into serving the community. So I hope that was semi-pertinent. Anyways, Councillor Crop.
Okay, thank you. Well, you didn't leave too much there, but anyways, I'd like to again thank Stephen Young and your committee. You did a fantastic job. I'm really proud of you guys. It's amazing to see how much commitment and effort went into it, and everybody pitched in and really worked together and presented Hope with a unique 3-segment vision for the future in every aspect. We started with the past and going to the present, and then going to the future for the next one. I'm sure will also be a sellout. I mean, over 120 people, that's something to be, it's remarkable, it's excellent. So just a couple of comments, I guess, about that, about the events. I was thinking about some of the comments that Mr. Les had commented on, and And the public, the sense I got was that the public was really looking for those shelf-ready plans. We've talked about that as a council and as a team with staff for a number of years, and I was thinking about it and how have we really rated in regards to that in the last, say 10 years, 15 years. And I'm thinking that we haven't really done that badly. With the budgets that we've had and trying to always keep in mind that, yes, every council that has sat down has been looking to save money or try to really negate any extraordinary costs, we've not been able to take $60,000 or $70,000 and get a shelf-ready plan together because it's really quite costly to actually do that. And then when the grants come, they're not actually something that we can long-term, like the mayor has suggested with this. Now we are looking at that, but in the past we haven't been able to look ahead and say, hey, we can apply for 3 grants. No, suddenly staff is diligently looking for ways to leverage our funding, and they say, hey, look, there is an infrastructure grant, but you know what, we need $50,000 to get some, and by the time the wave is over, we might hit the next wave if we're lucky of funding. So it's been kind of a roller coaster ride, and it's frustrating as council because no council really wants to get that last minute submission from staff saying, hey, if you don't do this today, we don't get any money. And of course that comes with a price tag. So it's kind of frustrating. So I was looking back and I thought, you know what, we haven't really done so badly. We did Aberfoyle through the prior councils that we had, and one of those councils had the foresight to think that we needed an economic development officer, which is what we got. And out of that, we told the vision that we wanted to see some long-term employment and some sustainability in the community, even at that point, those many years ago. And luckily, fortuitously, we had that person that was the right individual. They really recognized the ability of the staff that we have here, and they said, yeah, let's work together as a team, economic development, the district staff, and all the partners, the community. And guess what? We ended up with Aberfoyle and a sustainable long-term job development that turned out to be quite helpful in our community. Then we had the bridge. The bridge was kind of an up and down thing because again we didn't have, but what we did have was we had a nice consultant report that we did pay for because we knew that it was important to check out our infrastructure in the community thanks to the staff that we had at the date. And we had spent quite a bit of money on those, but on the other hand, when it came time and there was an opportunity, we took that opportunity, and that was kind of like a shelf-ready plan. Of course, the next example would be the shelf-ready plan we had of the community, the staff, and the council going together and working together, where they had an opportunity to do some charrettes, and they found out that the community really liked the jewel we have in the park, and so we did all those public information sessions, and we got the shelf-ready plan. And yes, it cost us money, it cost us $30,000, but it was there. And when we had the big windstorm, we made lemonade out of lemons because we ended up with a beautiful park that is far more appealing because it's not got a bunch of people in there that are doing things that are not productive. And so therefore, I'd like to, because I was thinking about these sessions and how I heard some rather negative things coming out of somebody's mouth at one time, and I was really kind of distraught about that, and I thought, well, I got to think about this a bit. And I got to say that, yeah, councils don't always make the right decisions every time, but I got to tell you, we all do work hard, even if we don't all agree together, and we have really great staff that they don't always do everything right either, because guess what, we're all human. But I got to say, the shelf-ready plans and all of those things that we want for the future, they're not just the communities, they're the people that you elected. We all want that. So I just want to say a hats off to the Chamber for bringing that out and letting us all talk about that. And I really look forward to the next episode, which is in March. And I look forward to really seeing what the council and the community and the district staff are going to do in the next 10 years. Okay. Sorry I was so long-winded. Just really have to think about that.
You did come up pretty well, so that's good.
Okay, sorry.
I won't be quizzed.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, thanks. The Chamber, just another thing with the Chamber, the people, the first meeting we had about 120 at the chamber meeting. And the last meeting we sold out, we had 150 people show up. We can't really take any more in that facility. There were lots more people that wanted tickets, but we couldn't sell any more tickets. And so the next meeting coming up is March 30th, and it's going to be, the MP, Mr. Sherrill, is going to be speaking, and our MLA is going to be speaking, and Canadian Federation of Independent Business, Richard Truscott, he's the Vice President for Canadian Independent Business. He's going to be speaking at that meeting. I think it's going to be it's going to be the climax of all three of them, trying to pull everything together. And so if you want to be there, buy your tickets early, because we only can get about 150, maybe squeeze 160 in if possible. But it'll be just like the others. It'll be a really nice meeting. So anyway, if you want to attend, that's it. Okay, another thing, the station house. I don't know if any of you have gone up to the station house. I would suggest all the council should go up to the station house and have a look. I went up on Friday. I was invited by Rash Chabot to come up and have a look at it. And I went through it. It's a massive undertaking, and since the district has voted to undertake this, we have to really plan in our budget. They are doing the construction, just the engineering to get the building stable is a massive amount of work. You actually have to go in there and have a look. I spent a good hour or more looking through the whole building. Tremendous amount of work working around all that's there and what they've had to take apart. I mean, the building's basically all taken apart, downstairs and upstairs. It's all gone. We as council have to really be frugal and try and find where we're going to put the money to get this put together. I asked Rash Chabot what it's going to cost to finish it. He said at least $750,000. At least $750,000. So it's something we have to. We started it. We got $200,000 into it. If you go look at it, it's a lot of work to be done. What's really nice about it, they have volunteer labor coming, I think 3 or 4 days a week. Rash Chabot volunteers Tuesdays and Fridays, and others volunteer other days. They have a little book there, and you have to sign in how many hours you work. You just see all the people that have volunteered already. It's a lot of people volunteer. And so it's a community thing, and you know, since we've voted to go ahead with it, you know, I'm behind the whole thing, but it's going to cost us as a town. It'll be a nice thing when it's done. They went through 3 different engineers to get to where they are now, 3 different engineers. And the new engineer that has drawn up the plans, they look really, really good. And they've saved thousands and thousands of dollars on different drawings to do the same amount of work. Raz told me we saved $20,000 here, we saved $30,000 doing it this way. I mean, it's just wonderful what they're doing. They're really doing a good job. So, but I would like, if possible, we get a progress report of the costs and where we're at, you know, and what the engineering costs were. Because basically, we don't know where we're right. I mean, I don't know where we're at as far as council goes. It would be nice to get a progress report to see where I know. What's the contractor? Parsley Fletcher. I know he bid $161,000, and I think he's going to be doing more work for that $161,000 because we've saved a lot of money. And they had 4 or 5 guys working down in the basement on Friday. It's very difficult work. I mean, things are crooked down, the original beams are crooked, so they have to try and straighten it. It's very difficult to work. But they're doing a wonderful job. I mean, I was really impressed with the amount of work they've done. And so, but I would really like to see a progress report. Another thing, Mr. Fradowski, this is to you. Why is the brine truck brining the bridge when it's raining in the morning? The brine truck at 6 o'clock in the morning crossed the golf course bridge, and they're brining the golf course bridge, and it's raining. So could you maybe just check that out? Brine is expensive, and it's a huge waste of taxpayer money, I think, if you could check that out. That's all my report, thanks.
I think that's a matter of process. When it's hovering around freezing, that's what they do.
It was raining.
Yeah. Well, it can rain just above freezing as well. Okay.
Speaking your worship?
Yeah.
If I can, reference the Barclay Fletcher contract as well. You recall, it was designed to allow for the flexibility and to incentivize savings by design to go back into the project. So Barclay has acknowledged that he's forgoing any incentives in savings that he undertakes. So he's playing a really big part in this community project, and it can't be stated enough, his support for this.
Yeah, and I think what we have to be a little careful too when we toss out fictional numbers, because 750,000, I mean, you could spend millions on a house, or you could spend 150,000 on a house. We've decided that the initial priority is to get it structurally sound, that we can bring volunteers in and upgrade it as we go. So I don't want the word out there that we're spending.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, I asked him, I said, what is it going to cost to finish this building so it's gonna look nice and be a nice gem for the community? He said, at least 750,000, that was his words. And I agree with it, I totally agree with it. Because there's a lot, if you go look at it, it's a lot of work. But if we get community work, love
Well,
volunteers.
we get volunteers that are committed, that's, tens of thousands in the bank there on a monthly basis, so I think we have to,
And the project is designed to leverage volunteer support all the way through.
that is the whole point behind it, yeah. So,
But I think what they're doing with that, they've got everybody name written down who's working, and the amount of hours that they put in, and that is part of that money, volunteer hours. I can see how it's gonna be, but I think by the whole time when it's done, because basically you have to start from scratch on everything. So, but if we get a lot of volunteers, it'll be less for the town.
okay, thank you, Councilor Erickson. Councilor Miller?
Thank you. My report is sort of just about what about to happen, I guess. So we have an Advantage Hope meeting tomorrow, so Councilor Daigle and myself will be in attendance there. I guess we'll hear a bit more about Station House at that meeting, and we have an update from the Advantage Hope side of things. And then on Thursday, I'll be taking part in the Business Walks. That's a partnership that's going on between District of Hope staff, some council members, Chamber of Commerce, Community Futures. I talked about it at the last council meeting. But I think it's really important that we're getting out there to talk to businesses and find out what their successes are, where their hurdles are, and we'll start gathering that data, and then we'll do it again in the fall and make it at least an annual event where we just blast through the community, business community, and find out how everybody's doing, and then we can work towards some solutions and celebrate successes. And then another announcement, I guess, from Advantage Hope. At the last meeting, we got to announce about the Diamond Steel Company coming. There's a press release out at the Emil Anderson building. Well, a few days later, Advantage Hope put out another press release that another light industrial business is coming called Max Force Trailers. They've taken it's the old Trust Company building. It was originally built for Trust Company on Corbett Street behind McDonald's and the NW. Will be manufacturing trailers there. Prices of bringing them in from the States has gone up with the dollar, so they have looked at investing in Hope. Initially, they imagine that'll be about 5 jobs, and then hopefully things go good for them and they can see that double or triple. So I think that's another exciting announcement, and we're seeing some results from the economic development initiative, so it's really good to see. So that's all I have.
Yeah, sounds good, Councilor Miller. Councilor Stewart?
So I attended the First Nations 101 in the Fraser Valley Regional District with Mr. Podolsky and the Mayor Victor. And it was a speed course in trees. I don't know how you guys felt, but I would zoom, and it was really, really fast. And talked about treaty negotiations and what takes so long for the treaties to actually get signed. They say, anywhere up to 20 years for treaty negotiations. So it's a long, drawn out process, but I really did enjoy my time there. And they were talking about doing more courses about First Nations, and they also said that if I wanted to know more, or if we wanted to know more about the First Nations culture, to contact one of the directors. So I really enjoyed myself. Thank you for taking me down there. Also attended the chamber dinner and found it quite enjoyable. Looking forward to the next one on March 30th. And the Golden Agers, always fun. I love the Golden Agers. And they got 27 cents in interest this last month, which is excellent. I'm very happy to announce. But they're just so happy, great people. They always have a time when they want to ask a lot of questions. So, there is a concern about the streetlights by the Legion and the Eagles. I guess there's bingo being played at nighttime, and the light there seems to be sometimes working, sometimes not. So I said that I would bring that forward. Also, we had a presentation from Care Transit where they talked about the bus that goes down to Chilliwack. I think it's every second Wednesday, $15 round trip. And they also spoke about the cost for a single visit to a doctor's appointment being approximately $69 to Chilliwack to go to the medical appointment and return. They do accept donations based on what you can afford to pay, but the actual cost is quite high. What else was there? And if you want to learn how to play crib, wisp, or another game I can't remember the name of, it's at 1 o'clock on Wednesdays, and they will teach you how to play cards. They're up to 90 members now, and it was just so much fun. I'm looking forward to my next meeting in March. That's everything.
Thank you. Councillor Stoll. Councillor Dial?
Thank you. So yes, I'll be attending the Advantage Hope meeting tomorrow night, participating in the business walk event on February 25th. Budget meetings sound like they're starting, so we'll have a rigorous every Wednesday for however long, May maybe. I'm not sure, but we'll be there.
Not past May 15th.
No. And I do want to acknowledge the hard work of Advantage Hope and everybody who participated in giving 2 new industries to Hope. I do think it's just the beginning of what's to come for Hope. So I want to acknowledge Advantage Hope and their hard work. Also, I got a phone call from one of the hospital staff, and they're putting on a ladies' auxiliary fashion show. So they've asked me, of all people, to participate in the fashion show. So I'm like, really? I knew where the phone call was going as soon as she came out with the words fashion show. So anyways, I graciously accepted that. So hopefully people will purchase $40 for a ticket, dinner, and a fashion show. And the monies are going to go towards hopefully a bus for the Fraser Canyon Hospital Day program. So the Ladies Auxiliary is putting that on. So get your tickets. It's March the 9th at the golf course. 6 o'clock is dinner. 7 o'clock the fashion show shall begin. And yeah, that is all for me.
Super duper. Thank you. Councillor Smith, have you been asked to be a male model?
No, no. I hope not, too, for your sake. Attended a Brigadiers meeting last Tuesday. Group's moving forward. We're looking at a couple different options for bringing some more entertainment for the younger crowd up to the grounds. Also want to say good pat on the back for Advantage Hope for what they're accomplishing there too, and with the feedback that I've heard back on Chamber of Commerce as well with this 3-part segment. I haven't been able to go because both nights have been when I'm coaching hockey, but I want to say a good job on that. I've heard nothing but good things about it too. So I think both groups there need a good pat on the back for what they're doing and moving forward with the community. So other than that, that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Short and simple.
Sounds good. Yeah, and I would love to be at the Advantage Hope AGM tomorrow, but unfortunately I have a regional district meeting. No, the regular meeting, but I have the regional district meeting tomorrow night, so I have to stick to that unfortunately. So I guess moving on to item 8, permits and bylaws. We have the previously discussed zoning amendment bylaw number 1368, 2016, institutional P2 to light service industrial I2, 555 Rab Street, and issuance of an Old Hope Princeton Way development permit. Recommendation is that District of Hope zoning amendment bylaw number 1368, 2016 be read a 3rd time this 22nd day of February 2016. In order to rezone the property legally described at 555 Rab Street from institutional P2 to light service industrial I2. We have a motion to that effect. Okay. Triple tie. Okay. Councillor Mendelar, Councillor Smith. All those in favor? Contrary? Carries. Sounds good. So, questions pertaining to the agenda? Oh, correspondence, I skipped over correspondence, I crossed that right out. Any of that?
Receipt of correspondences.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Medlock. Councilor Erickson, seconding. Questions or comments pertaining to correspondence? All those in favor? Okay. So, our next council meeting is March the 14th. And come up with your good questions for the council coffee session. Is there any questions pertinent to the agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I got a question for you.
Yes?
With regards to the coffees, can they be roving instead of being local, like in this place only? Can they be, for example, a Hope Search and Rescue, or Fire Hall, or Lorco, or whatever?
Good idea.
That's not a bad idea.
You just
Good
need to
idea.
give notice.
We have to make sure we get here on time for the regular meeting too.
Yeah.
We'll make sure we'll give you a ride.
That's not a bad idea. We can do that. Get us out a little bit.
See different
Mm-hmm.
areas.
It's a very good idea, actually. Police will agree on that. Sounds good. If we do it at, like obviously a search and rescue, you can just request, okay, we will not host. I would think maybe Mr. Young, since we have him here, our president of the chamber, if businesses would like to host, maybe they can express it to the chamber and they can do sort of a random draw of the lot, so it's not seen that council is, you know, promoting one business over the other, just in the interest of fairness. That might be a good way to go. Because I'm sure there'll be a number of businesses that would like to do it, so we don't look like we're playing favorites if we do it on a random draw basis, then just,
We'll take the first one, sir.
okay.
I'll have to tell you.
Since you're a non-profit community service group, I don't think we have to do that. Sounds good.
I'll have that conversation, we'll sort out the details, your worship, we'll get that up.
Yeah. Mr. Young, is that a,
Yeah, and
are you amenable to that arrangement?
yeah, probably we can also invite different business locally to supply the coffee, refreshments, or things like that, like
like that.
cookie muffins. We have Blue Moose, we have Tim Hortons, so they can be the player too.
That will give you a, thank you for that.
Yeah, so we can make the invitations and make the arrangements.
Yeah.
For sure, yeah.
So your worship, with that being said, the dates are good. Any organization wishing to participate, please contact me and I'll make all the arrangements.
Except for July, I think.
Yeah.
Taking July out.
Sorry, Councilor Crowe?
Taking July maybe out of the.
July and August are single meeting months, your worship. Staff, we put the dates in for the only meeting for the month. If council wishes to take them out, we're more than happy to take them out.
Council wishes.
Well, I mean, let's play it by ear and see how popular the program is. We'll play it by ear. I don't think it's,
And can I
Yeah.
make a recommendations? And I like the coffee idea. I think it's good that the council is trying to build a communication sessions with the citizens of Hope. So I think that's a big improvement. But one of my recommendations, we have lots of senior citizens in Hope, and I'm not too sure 6 p.m. will be too late for them. Maybe can we have some day sessions arranged so that senior citizens of Hope will have the chance to meet our councils and all that, because even right now I understand one of the reasons why the ratepayer has to put in the videotapings for the seniors of Hope, because weather like this, temperature like this, I don't want them to be wandering on the street. So, yeah, I mean, just a recommendation or suggestions. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Councilor Medlock made a good point. It's a little tough for some council members to get out during the day just because of their 9 to 5 jobs.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
The odd time I shouldn't see it.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We can mix it up a little. Okay. I guess we'll take a quick break. We have an in-camera session. And March 14th is the next council meeting. Thank you very much.